Burn Nation, welcome back to the Burn Bootcamp podcast. It is episode 26, and there is a new era of fat loss, and it is here. It isn't your mama's version of fat loss and weight loss like the 90s and the 80s, okay? The new era is here. We're not talking dieting. We're not talking calorie hacking. We are not even talking starving yourself or fasting or any of those things. We're talking about reprogramming your cells at a cellular level, because eating less and moving more, it doesn't work anymore. And doing more cardio and cutting more carbs, it just doesn't work anymore. The new era of fat loss is here. It's called metabolic reprogramming. And we're going to dive super deep into it right here on the Burn Bootcamp podcast. Let's go. Welcome to the Burn Podcast, where strength meets science, food fuels energy, and mindset creates momentum. I'm DK, your personal trainer, and I want you to train, eat, and think differently. So get ready to take your health and fitness to the next level here on the Burn Podcast. Let's get to work. All right, Trisha, another one, episode 26. It's November 26th. Happy Turkey Day Eve.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Do you have any traditions that you're excited for that you're about to execute?
You know, I know Thanksgiving growing up was never like a big thing. I grew up in like a racing family.
Yep.
So there's a lot of racing around, like motor racing. So no, it's actually more of a chill holiday, which I don't hate. I love it. We just kind of hang out. It's no pressure.
Couple days just to relax on the couch?
With the fam. Yeah.
Yeah, watch some football. Well, you're a Dan Campbell
I'm a huge,
gal.
and we have a game on Thanksgiving. So got to eat some of that turkey.
Always on Thanksgiving. That's one thing about being a Lions fan.
Yeah.
You know, you're able to...
we got to win.
You're able to time Thanksgiving, and the Lions, usually it's a Lions loss, but in the last couple of years, it's been been pretty fun to watch them.
It's funny you say that, because I was talking to my mom about what time we wanted to start, and I did say, well, the Lions game starts at 1. So we got to time it around that.
She's like, who is my daughter orienting her entire life around? Well, can you just tell us, first of all, Chelsea, while Trisha's doing this, pull up just like a clip on YouTube or something of Dan Campbell post-game speech in the locker room. And I'm going to let Trisha tell us and tell everybody on the podcast why she is a newfound Detroit Lions fan, and his name is Dan Campbell, and she loves his energy.
I will say, and I became a Lions fan before they started this winning streak.
Okay. Just a caveat, she's not a bandwagoner.
I'm not and my husband made me then commit when they started winning. He's like, you can't now, like if Dan leaves to another team, you got to still be a Lions fan. So I committed to the Lions. I'm a committed fan. I'm not from Detroit. A lot of people ask me if I'm from Michigan. No, I'm from Arizona, but we didn't really have great sports teams growing up. Sorry, no offense to Arizona people. So Dan Campbell, his energy, I'm really into great leaders. And he, to me, is a definition of a great leader. He is part of the team. He has created, and this is why I find him so inspiring, is learning about how the Lions were before. And since he came in, he's totally changed the culture around. The players want to work for him because he is such a great leader. He comes with grit. He comes with honesty. He's going to celebrate the wins, but he's also going to share what they can do better. So anyways, I think he's amazing. If there's a clip,
just a little clip.
I could literally go down a rabbit hole with him.
We're going to start this metabolic flexibility podcast off with the man, Dan Campbell energy. Roll a Dan Campbell clip. Let's see what we get.
Man, that's the way to go. All right? We don't listen to what anybody else says about what we are, what we aren't. We know what we are. We always bounce back. It's about getting better every week. All right? There's things we got to clean up. I got it. But, man, that's more like us. That's a lot more like us. I'm proud of you guys, though. I didn't expect anything different. I really didn't. I got one game ball. All right? This guy, 25 of 33, 76% completion percentage.
You get the idea, right? You get a little Dan Campbell energy. Don't worry about what anybody else is telling you about who you are. You know who you are. That's great advice right there. And listen, before we just got we had a PR week, which was last week, and finishing that up was I was the most sore I think I've ever been in my entire life, especially on the Wednesday after 3 straight days of PRing. And you know, it's that type of inspiration and leadership and energy that I like to carry with me. And so I know why you love you some Dan Campbell, because you can channel that before you go in and you work on your PRs, your personal records. You get some PRs?
I did.
Nice.
Yeah. It's funny. I actually surprised myself. We were in camp together one of those days, and I did I did 95 pounds for reverse lunge, and then there was the 100 sitting next to me, and someone wanted to use the 95, so I was like, let's give these a whirl, and I did them. It was really exciting.
Isn't that crazy that you will rise to the level in which you have to, depending on the environment that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you don't have the 95s, you can't lift them. The hundreds, it's there. We are just so adaptable as human beings, and like this is what makes us like thrive in survival. Like we are very resilient people, and I love that story. We're going to talk about nutrition today, folks. All right, and I know that we're just getting into the podcast, but PR week was fire, and nutrition becomes so important. Let's just back up real quick and talk about what PR week is. If you're unfamiliar, I'll give a 25-second explanation. PR week is when we take all of the lifts, all right, that we have in our human movement patterns. There's 12 of them: push, pull, lunge, hinge. You get it? And then each of those 12 human movement patterns has 24 total exercises, but 2 in each one of the 12 human movement patterns. We call it the fundamental 24. Now, the fundamental 24 is what we're trying to PR on, personal record. That means each time we are matched up to one of these exercises, this is the focal point. This is where we put all of our attention and all of our energy. And we might leave some other reps in reserve in that workout. Maybe there's some shoulder flies on a chest press day, but you're going to put the energy that you have toward that chest press because we're trying to max our reps. So, this is something that we started in 2024, but really went to the next level in 2025, and looking forward, Burn Nation, to taking it even beyond where we are this year in 2025 to the next level in 26. We'll explain as we get a little bit closer to 26. Follow along on the podcast. We'll explain exactly what the differences are, not for the podcast today, but what I am here to say is that if you want to keep hitting PRs over and over and over and over, and you want to progress, at some point, your nutrition becomes so vitally important once you've kind of got over the honeymoon phase of falling in love with fitness and understanding what PRs are. And 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 15 months in, it starts to become about nutrition that is going to help you get to that next level. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about the new era approach, the modern era, which I think is the more realistic and practical approach to fat loss. But inherently in this definition, in the modern era, fat loss is synonymous with gaining muscle and muscle building. The two can be one and the same. And you're going to see that after we go over these 5 different areas. The 5 different areas that we're going to talk about are metabolic switching, muscle first fat loss. I'm going to teach you something. I talked about this before, Trish, called hormetic stress rather than chronic stress. Carb timing, not carb restriction, is number 4. And fasting as a metabolic reset, not a test of your willpower, is idea number 5. And when you combine all 5 of these ideas together, what you get is a fat loss journey that is associated with what you can gain in positivity and what you can do, rather than deficit and negativity in what you cannot do. And that's, to me, the biggest perspective change from the old era to the new era. Is the old era was all about what you have to do. What you have to do becomes this chore, and chores inherently are something that we don't want to do, that we have to do. In the new era, we are building in the psychological focus here and saying, hey, we are going to put you in a position to look forward to gaining, to look forward to doing more, to not having a deficit, but lifting more and showing up more and doing more weight, and then letting the fat loss become an inherent byproduct of that. Okay, but before we do that, Trish, we got some gear on, and I want you to talk about what you got on over here, because friends, listen, right now on the store, It's a Black Friday sale. It's starting right now. The Black Friday e-com sale is here. And you can see my shirt. Trish, let me see yours real quick. Let me get a you can see mine.
So it's like a little, I have like a jacket on over mine because I get cold, but this is the top. It's so cute. I wanted to share it with it so you can see it's like a crop. And then there's a cute little logo in the back. So if you're like me, I really like to like dress up my workout gear. And then if I'm going to go take noon camp, I just have to take this off, throw on some leggings, and I'm good to go.
Yeah. And we have a theme today, right? Because my gear, which by the way is sick. We got a little American flag branding on the side. Can you see that? Where's that? Here we are. See that
Cool.
American flag brand?
Cool detail. Yeah.
You like that? And we both can wear these without a logo hitting you kind of right in the face. So it's one of those things that I wear this shirt with jeans, and then Morgan doesn't yell at me because I'm wearing Burn Boot Camp gear to our dinner date, which is par for the course
There you go.
for me. And I've been doing that for 10 years. So I'm getting brownie points with wifey because of this army green American flag Burn Boot Camp tee for all of our guys out there. So get it while it's hot. Don't use Pod 10. Don't use Pod 10 because it's already a sale. And you can't get double discount, people. Trying to double dip out here, all right? But normally you can use Pod 10, but not for this one. The sale ranges from 20 to 50% off. And the most important thing is about what burn gear says about you as a human. You got some burn gear on. You're flying through the airport for the holidays. You see another Burn Boot Camp member, and they're coming down the corridor, the concourse, and you already know in the back of your mind that you're loading up a high five.
Love it.
And that you're ready to just whip out a crispy,
100%.
up top, good form, hand palm above the elbow above the shoulder, nice and high, low five, low energy. High five, high energy, fingertips above your eyebrows. That's classic form. Oh, and the connection, boom, solid. Then you know that little interaction. How often does that happen?
Oh, I love when that happens. It's like a stranger, and then the people that you're with are like, "What just happened?" You're like, "If you knew, if you're part of Burn, you know."
All right,
you know.
So get you some burn gear so that your burn brothers and sisters recognize you out there in the wild. All right. Okay, so meat of the podcast today is going to be really exciting stuff. This, we've gotten a lot of feedback from you. And the feedback that I've gotten, Trisha, is our nutrition episodes are the most helpful for folks.
Good.
They love the leadership talks. They like when we dive into, relationships, and they like when we talk about, burn in the history and in career and, all that stuff too. But nutrition seems to be where it's at for this audience. And so asking you, share, receive, we're going to give you more of that today. So share this with somebody who you think could benefit from this, a burn brother and a burn sister. And if you do get something out of this today, what I want you to do is make sure you're a subscriber on our YouTube channel. Trisha, guess what happened? You tell them. You got to tell them.
I knew what happened. This is so exciting. We finally hit 100,000 subscribers on our Burn Boot Camp YouTube page. Let's go. Thank you so much to all of you guys who subscribed. We are taking it to the next level.
As of right now, 100,010 people.
There we go.
I love it. Okay. So we're going to give you more of what you're asking for. Metabolic switching. Okay. Metabolic flexibility. That's the first topic that we're going to cover today. And let's do a quick review. All right. So a quick review. There's two major energy systems. We've talked about these before on the podcast when it comes to your metabolism and being flexible. One uses sugar, one uses fat. Do you remember what those technical...
Glycolysis and lipolysis?
Let's go, Trisha. Did you guys get that one too? If you've been listening to the podcast, you should know those two words by now. I know they're fancy and scientific, but they mean something very simple. Glycolysis means using your carbohydrates that break down into glucose, simple sugar for fuel, and lipolysis, which is using fat stores or triglycerides for fuel. This is a very important concept to know because we are, I don't even care if you're lean. If you're not metabolically flexible, meaning if you can't switch between those two energy systems, then ultimate health has not been achieved from you yet. How do you switch those energy systems? One is not eating for an extended period of time.
Mm-hmm.
About 12 hours at the minimum.
12-hour fast.
Yep. we like an overnight fast. Fasting itself, that word is getting more popular. It doesn't mean starve yourself. It means the voluntarily abandoning the need you have for food so that you can have a particular outcome. And the particular outcome is usually one of two things when it comes to that. Fasting, that first way to get to metabolic flexibility, which is spirituality, or some acute nutrition goal, right? Like, I want to become metabolically flexible, therefore I'm not going to eat when I shouldn't after 7 p.m. and before 7 a.m. Okay? So you can become metabolically flexible by fasting. Guess what else? What's the other thing? You guys know at home? We do this well at Burn Boot Camp. This is direct. We do this pretty good. It's not a trick question either. What's the other way that we can get in to metabolically switching?
Working out.
Hardcore exercise. Okay? Using that fuel, right? Because once you use the tank, then you're going to switch to that secondary energy reserve, kind of like a hybrid car. If you have gas and you know you got some electric backup battery, well, then it's not so bad when you run out of gas because you have that backup battery. Now, the backup battery in this instance is body fat. And so if you want to talk about the new era, the new way, when I say the new era, by the way, people, what I'm really saying is a new way to think about losing weight. Not the old way, a new way to think about approaching fat loss or the reduction of fat cells on your body. You are not fat, you have some fat, and there's a strategy to get that off. The number one way is to use food and use exercise in the absence of food to create metabolic flexibility. My question for you, Trish, is what's confusing about this for our listeners, our viewers? What's confusing about this to them? Do you think that we can help clarify?
I think it's just this. If I had to put my member hat on, as thinking about the title of this episode, like, what is someone trying to get out of this? Is let's make it like not confusing, so that it's not like it's adding more work to your plate. Another thing that you have to think about. It's actually simplifying the game, I think, is what I would have to say, Devin, is like, that's where my brain goes to where we could help the most, because I know I've asked you question after question after question. I'm finally getting a little bit more confident, but I can still use some guidance.
Okay, great. Let's make it super simple.
Yep.
All right. This is all you have to do if you want to become a metabolically flexible person. There's just a handful of activities every day that you have to do. Number one is you want to train. And that's the anchor to your workout every day, or to your lifestyle every day, depending on where when you train in the day, whether it's 5:30 a.m., 9:30, noon, doesn't really matter. What I want you to do the best as you possibly can is eat a meal that is protein high, carbohydrate high prior to your workout, about 2 hours if you can. If not, you can train fasted as well. And after your workout, 30 minutes, an hour and a half, 2 hours, somewhere in that, next couple hours after your workout, you want to have another high protein, high carbohydrate meal. And you want to consume the vast majority of your carbohydrates on a daily basis, pre-workout, post-workout. When your body is going to use those carbohydrates, the timing becomes so important eventually, after your first few months of getting into this game. Then it becomes about carbs before, carbs after, and no carbs for dinner. High protein, high fat for dinner. Why high protein and why high fat? And you notice protein stays high. So that's a simplicity. Is protein just high all the time? Around your workout, carbs are up. In the evening, carbs are way down. And fat is just the inverse of your carbs. The reason that you want to have high protein, high fat is because the fat will slow down the digestion of the protein. And it will also minimally affect insulin. Carbohydrates affect insulin most notably. Protein and fat have very little effect on insulin. And you're keeping your insulin spikes away, okay? And when you keep your insulin spikes away, you're practicing what's called glucose control. I'm able to put carbohydrates in my body and know that I'm giving my body enough, not too much. Those are really the couple rules. Carb heavy around your workout, carb light before bedtime. And everyone should have that 12-hour overnight fasting window to give our body a reset, because we are meant to recover. We are meant to, when we sleep, our body is in prime recovery mode. As soon as we put our body in prime digestion mode, because now we've consumed all these carbohydrates and insulin's going to work, etc. Now our body's worried about digesting, right? And not rebalancing and recovering. And an unsung hero of the rebalancing and recovering process. So when you don't have any carbohydrates in your body's going to go into the secondary fat energy system mode, which is burning fat while you sleep. And it's a great thing. So that's a slight ramble, but also trying to give a little bit of color, but also be concise. That's what really matters when it comes to metabolic flexibility is the timing of carbohydrates.
So if you're someone right now who has a carb at every dinner and you look forward to that carb at every dinner, what would be your advice for like kind of taking that out and replacing that with just eating your protein and your fat?
Yeah, so a great dinner would be a piece of salmon, 6 to 8 ounces of salmon, and 2 cups or a cup of mixed vegetables cooked in avocado oil. Might be a really good dinner to have. And if you're somebody that's larger, you might just want to go up in protein. If you want to have a little, maybe like a tiny serving of carbohydrate, that's fine. If you want to have a little, maybe a quarter cup of quinoa or a quarter cup of rice, or maybe a half cup of rice, if you're somebody who's larger, that's fine. I'm not saying no carbohydrates at dinner. I'm just saying low carbohydrates at dinner. And so all you're going to do then is just make an adjustment to your portion sizes. Yeah. And if you can get to a place where it's just high protein, high fat, almost no carb, you're just going to put your body in a better position to be metabolically flexible.
Got it. Yeah. I know it's helped me is just, we talk about this all the time. I think we still need to get protein hunter shirts. I have become so obsessed with protein now that's all that I eat. Like to the point where my husband's like, have you had anything other than protein to eat today?
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, no, I haven't.
Well,
caffeine.
Let's talk about this momentarily because I think this is a really good topic. We talk about protein so much, and it is so important. It is the structural molecule, and it is part of every tissue in your body. But there is one caveat to, and we are protein hunters, and we are getting T-shirts, and probably eye black, and probably some bone arrows too. But there's one downside, is that anything can go too far.
Yeah.
And some people are starting to DM me asking about the carnivore diet. Do you know what the carnivore diet is?
That's only protein, right?
It's only meat.
Only meat.
Yeah. Only animal meat is the carnivore diet. And
so it's technically protein and fat.
It's protein and fat. But here's the issue. This might blow your mind, by the way. I don't know if this will blow your mind. You might have heard me say this before. If you're new to this or you haven't heard me talk about nutrition before, this might blow your mind. There is no such thing as an essential carbohydrate. You don't have to eat carbohydrates in order to survive and to live. You have to eat fats and you have to eat protein. It's essential. But there's no such thing as an essential carbohydrate. So what are carbohydrates for? Okay, well, there's a whole host of other benefits, but since we're talking about fitness and its relation to metabolic flexibility and its relation to carbohydrates, what carbohydrates are for in this context is performance. Yeah. The reason the reason I don't recommend the carnivore diet is try to eat all meat and no carbohydrate and see how flat you are in your performance in the gym. Yeah. And if the vast majority of your results actually just come from mechanical tension, and you believe what I believe and what I observe is that just because you eat protein doesn't mean you're going to gain muscle. If you don't, like, consumption of protein without mechanical tension equals no muscle build. So if you want to build muscle, the vast majority of your tension should be on the mechanical tension. Then you want to load in enough protein, ideal body weight in grams of protein, if you want to start to maximize your muscle gain. You follow me? But those carbohydrates pre and post workout, those are going to be what help the mechanical tension, the actual working out. That's going to be what helps you get that extra repetition, the extra 5 reps or 5 pounds or 10 pounds, and the extra rep here or the one more rep here or the one more set there, because you have carbohydrates that are fueling that performance. That, my friends, is where all the gains are made once you're past a certain point. So that is why we talk about carbohydrates in the context of fitness specific around your workout, so that we can then stay metabolically flexible. The vast majority of time, we're using our body fat as energy, And for specific pops in our day, which is around your workout, you're using carbohydrates to fuel your workout. So carbs fuel your workout, body fat fuels your life. That's metabolic flexibility.
And that is why the Sour Patch Kids have taken to the gym.
Yes. Yes. If you haven't seen the Sour Patch Kids phenomenon, there's this whole wave of influencers who are eating candy during the middle of the workout and as some novel solution. And we could go. Should we go there? Do you want to go there?
We've gone there a couple of times,
Okay.
so I don't think we.
Let's save that for
I just like to bring it up because it still makes me laugh.
Yeah, and it's gonna boil my blood too. So I'm over here about to get fired up and go in on it. Let's just save that. We'll save that one for another day.
Okay.
We'll save it. We'll see if that trend lasts. Like all things, it's probably going to fizzle out. Chelsea?
That needs to be like one of the things we talk about in one of the myth episodes, like the rapid fire myth episodes. That'll be a good one.
All right, Chelsea. So what other myths, people, do you want to know about? What other fitness myths are out there? I had some in my intro. We had eat less, move more. That's the way to get to fitness. You guys heard that before? Eat less, move more. What I'm telling you right now,
My whole entire life is what I've heard that.
is eat appropriately and move appropriately. Yeah. Less and more is not going to cut carbohydrates is another one.
Yep.
Well, you want to maximize your fitness. Cutting carbohydrates isn't going to do it for you. Do more cardio. Trish, do more cardio if you want to be lean. We now know we're going to actually stop right there and go into number 2, which is muscle first fat loss. The new era of fat loss is suggesting, and this is from my observation, not an article. It is suggesting that weight training, strength training, building muscle is the most optimal form of fat loss.
Mm-hmm.
That for decades, we thought get on the elliptical, steady state, low fat, stay in zone 1. Show me the zones, Chelsea, the cardio zones. Stay in zone 1. That's fat loss mode. Stay right in zone 1 and just go for a couple hours. You're going to stay in fat loss mode. You're going to burn all that fat.
And be so bored.
And be so bored. How many of you came to Burn Boot Camp because you were out there somewhere in the world just on an elliptical? Just so bored. Trisha, you were?
Oh, yeah, I did the elliptical. For sure, I was one of those people.
Did you also do the Stairmaster? Were you the Stairmaster queen for a while?
Yeah, I mean, at least it's a little bit more fun than the elliptical.
What about the treadmill warrior? Were you the treadmill warrior as well?
I hate a treadmill. I'd rather run outside and hit my feet on the pavement. But yeah, if it was raining, 100% I was on those machines.
And I'm not here to bash those machines by any means. I'm just saying as your primary mode of fitness, getting on an elliptical for an extended period of time every day is the opposite of a word we're going to learn today, hormetic stress. And it's going to induce chronic stress, which is why cardio gets a bad rap. Because for the last 3 decades, we've been doing endless cardio on an elliptical machine, staring into the abyss, wondering if life is going to get better.
Yeah. We're just watching trash TV.
Come to Burn and it does. Yeah, trash TV.
Yeah.
Watching your favorite. Yeah.
Yeah. Just to pass the time.
All right. So here it is. Check this out. Max heart rate. See that max, that 90% right there?
Mm-hmm.
People, when you do what's called burst training at Burn Boot Camp, you're going all the way up to 90%. Boom, for short burst, 20 seconds. Bop, 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 high knees. Moving fast, hard as you can. And then you're going to slow back down into that baby blue zone right there, that light zone. Breathe. Catch your breath. Don't let your breath catch you. Get it all the way down to 60. And then 3, 2, 1, go. We get it right back up to 90 and over. It's called oscillations, heart rate oscillations. We're practicing HRV. What's HRV? Anybody know? Chelsea? Trisha? Folks at home, friends?
Heart rate variability.
Boom, heart rate variability.
I had to think about it. I knew it.
Right, you want to talk about how to stay, what's the word? Not rigid. What's the opposite of rigid? flexible, like to stay like alert and young and flexible and aware of your surroundings and resilient. That's the word I'm looking for. To stay resilient and to not like get in your ways and to like be able to change and be able. Heart rate variability is a big deal. People. So we had a 4 and 2 week during PR week, 4 strength days, 2 conditioning days, and my conditioning people were like. My conditioning people or my strength training people were like, heck yeah, more strength training. My conditioning people were like, no, no, there goes our 3rd conditioning day of the week. But to my strength training people, watch yourself. All right. Slow your roll. Don't be so quick to just want to lift all the time. Don't lift. You have to have pops of that conditioning in order to train your brain and to train your heart. Do you know your brain, your hippocampus in your brain gets bigger with every conditioning session that you have? And the mechanism of that structure in your brain getting bigger is the very thing that staves off Alzheimer's, memory loss, I mean, just all types of brain ailments over time. And this is proven. It's not my opinion.
Oh, but you're still getting your heart rate up during like a leg day. I was the walking lunges. I was gassed. So explain that to us, Devin, because that's still getting your heart rate up. But I know it's different than what we were just talking about with the burst training, but still conditioning.
Okay, now you're gonna have to close your eyes, Trisha, and you can follow at home too, and you can picture yourself in the gym. Okay, I give you 3 minutes, and I say you've got 2 sets of 10 RM or 10 rep max on lunges. That's one strength training challenge you have in 3 minutes. You can imagine how much effort and energy you're going to have to put into that to PR. Now, I'm going to tell you the same thing, but I'm going to say for 3 straight minutes, you're going to do full burpees for 3 straight minutes, and I'm going to be in your ear the entire time, and you get no more than 5 seconds. Now imagine yourself in what type of condition that your body will be in post those 2-3 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, because one of these on our I'll go back to our little chart here. One of these you're getting to 80%, 70 to 80% when you're strength training.
Fair.
The other one you're going all the way up to 90%, maybe for extreme athletes even more. Right. So yeah, it's just a different type of exhaustion, right? Okay. You're getting to the place where your muscle bellies that you're trying to work, they don't have anymore. They've reached that red line, that lactic acid threshold.
There you go.
And there's no more. You're that type of exhausted versus you can still keep doing burpees. Your heart just can't take any more.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that.
Does it make sense?
That does make sense.
So hard work depends on, I was thinking of a baseball metaphor as soon as I started saying that. In baseball, they say don't change your arm when you're a pitcher, just change the grip. So you're not changing the intensity, you're just changing the movement. You're still going to go intense as you can.
Yeah.
That resistance and that weight, it's going to force you to keep your heart rate down.
Out.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So muscle first, fat loss. Okay. Let's get very basic about this. Muscle first, fat loss. It's very easy. Do you want to take a guess at why? And I think this is common knowledge. And if you don't want to, just look at me and be like, no, I don't want to take a guess.
You make me nervous when you say it's common knowledge. I'm like, okay, you should know this.
Maybe it's common knowledge for trainers. How about that? That's a better way to put it. Why does more muscle equal more fat loss? Why does more muscle equal more fat loss?
Because it speeds up your metabolism.
Why does it speed up your metabolism? Why does muscle itself, the act of building muscle, speed up your metabolism?
I know this.
You've said it before, and I know that you know it. So it's not because muscle is like weighs the same as, or weighs more than fat pound for pound. It's that it's more dense.
Yeah.
Right? So you muscle for every pound of muscle. Look this up, Chelsea. For every pound of muscle, how many calories are burned versus pound of fat?
Yeah.
Think about it this way. Because your muscle is more dense, it requires more calories. It increases the amount of weight that you have. The amount of weight that you have is part of your calculation on what your resting metabolic rate is, or the calories that you're burning, the minimum of energy that you need to use to be Trisha Pena. And if you have more muscle, your body requires more energy. The bigger the car, the bigger the engine and the gas tank needs to be.
Yep.
All right, check out GPT here.
So 1 pound of fat burns 2 calories, and 1 pound of muscle burns anywhere from 6 to 10 calories. So
Perfect.
3 to 5 times more.
Perfect. I love that. 3 to 5 times more calories for a pound of muscle than a pound of fat. So every time you do a strength training workout, you're going to build muscle from that mechanical tension. You're turning your body into a metabolic machine. You're going to burn, if you gain 10 pounds of muscle with this math, you're going to burn 100 calories. You're going to burn 6 to 10 per muscle. Does it mean you burn 1,000 calories? Is that what that's saying? 1,000 calories more per day if you gain 10 pounds of muscle. Is that right? Is my math right on that? 10 calories per day per pound. Oh, 100 calories.
100 calories.
You're going to get 100. You're going to burn 100 more calories. And when my deficit that I need in order to stay lean is 100, 200 calories, it's a lot of calories.
Yeah.
I gain 20 pounds of muscle. I require every day I'm going to be burning that much more fuel, 200 calories more fuel. That's the difference. And that's why you want more muscle, because muscle is going to help you, A, look better.
Yep.
B, support musculoskeletal health, so your skeletal system's health in general. More muscle is going to create longevity. It's going to create posture. More muscle is going to increase grip strength, which increases as a direct correlation to longevity. So muscle first, fat loss is where it's at today. Lifting weights. That's why strength training is making such a hard push in our industry right now, as it should.
Yeah. So much research is being shown. And I mean, I don't know about your algorithm, but I'm seeing longevity, and what's best for longevity is every single study is strength training. So if you want to live the best life when you're 80 years old, which is what I'm signing up for, so I can be a really cool grandparent one day, I want to chase my grandkids. So I'm going to keep that muscle up.
So members, listen up. If you are a Burn Bootcamp member, I want you to listen to my words right now, okay? This is so important for you. As you get stronger physically, our mental strength always lags behind that. So your physical strength and capability is much higher than you give yourself mental credit for. So remember this, that next time you're in the gym, no two of the same movements on different back-to-back days should have the same weight. If you did 10 pounds on a bicep curl last week for all 3 sets, then make sure that next week that you're at 10, 10, and 12 for those 3 sets. And then the following week, you're at 10, 12, and 12, and then 12, 12, and 12. And keep progressing yourself in your weight selections. Pick up the heavier weight. I promise you that the heavier weight you pick up, the more mechanical tension you're creating, the more muscle mass that you're creating, the more muscle mass you create, the more calories that you burn at rest, the more calories you burn at rest, the less crazy we're going to have to drive ourselves over what nutritional choices we're making all the time, because the more muscle we have, the more metabolically efficient we are, meaning the more calories that we can burn that don't get stored as fat and that gets used as fuel for those hard workouts. And then the cycle becomes this self-perpetuating positive cycle where the harder you train, the more muscle you gain, the less focus you have to have on your diet, so on and so forth. And you know what? I'm not going to lie. It's nice to have a cookie every once in a while.
100%.
And not have to be like so rigid all the time. And so, but building muscle takes time. And in order to do so, every time you step in the gym, override that limbic system, override that mind that says, I'm not worthy, I'm not strong enough, I haven't been strong enough in my past, why would I be strong enough today? Override that emotion that's going to just hit you, because that's where the energy goes first when we see something visual, or we're going to get that limbic, we're going to get that monkey mind, that emotional brain is going to be the first thing that reacts and says, I can't do that. But then what makes us human is this prefrontal cortex, this this big part of the frontal lobe of our brain it's called the executive function for a reason. It can override the emotion and can say, you know what? I heard DK on a podcast say that I'm stronger than I think I am. Let me just try those 20 pounds instead of this 12 because I know that I'll probably be able to do it. And then when you do it, now your body is going to react to that extra stimulus, and you're going to adapt and you're going to keep growing. So long-winded way, members, of saying, if you heard nothing else from that, hear this. If you can, you must. Pick up a heavy weight. Prove to yourself that you can't do it. Mm-hmm. And if you can't, it's never that you can. It's just that you haven't been able to yet. And you're going to keep trying again and again and again and again and again. And they'll make your trainer happy. And that's the number one goal in life, is to just do that and make us all happy so that we can feel good about ourselves for being a great trainer.
That's one of my favorite things about being a trainer is when you can see it in someone's eyes and you're like, they can do more. And they don't have the self-belief that they can. So you go up to them and you are encouraging them. And our trainers do this the best in Burn Nation. And you just see that look in someone's eyes when they do something for the first time. I actually just did this to my brother-in-law. He was doing a wall sit with 70 pounds on his lap. I was like, bro, you can do more than that. And he's like, no, I can't. And I'm like, don't say you can't. I know you can. And so I gave him the 120 because I had just done the 120 for 3.5 minutes. I'm like, you definitely can do this. And guess what he did? 120 for 3.5 minutes. I was like, see, you can do this.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've really enjoyed having him in the gym. It's been good. I've worked out with him a couple times too. It reminds me of a story from South Jordan, Utah. So I go to a 5:30 a.m. camp in South Jordan, Utah, and this is maybe like a year ago. And I walk in, and there's a member. I won't use her name, but there's a member, and she doesn't look like she's very happy to be there. Mm-hmm. You know, it looks like maybe she knows that she has to be there, mm-hmm. So she's there out of like her own free will and desire, like somebody else telling her that she needs to go, right? And so she just kind of has this look on her face where it's like, I don't want to be here. Leave me alone. And I've been doing this for a while, so I know exactly how to handle somebody who doesn't want to be there. They just need a little bit of confidence, and you need to get them some confidence as fast as you can get them some confidence so that they feel that they're making progress, because progress is happiness. So if I, in one 45-minute session, when one camp, feel like I can make a little bit of progress, well, even if I don't like being there and I don't like fitness, progress makes me happy. So then, therefore, at least I got a little slice of happiness because I made some progress. Follow me? Mm-hmm. So she's pressing overhead 10 pounds. This woman's a beast. I can tell like she's an ex-college athlete or something, right? She's got some developed back muscles. She wasn't just like on the couch for 20 years. So I'm like, hey, look, I'm going to call her Rachel. Mm-hmm. So I was like, hey, Rach, see those 15s right there? What you think about those 15s? They look pretty good to me. What do you think? She goes, like that. I go, this is how you cut through it all, right? Mm-hmm. I go, Rachel, slow down. Look at me. Do you trust me? And I don't think she did, but she wasn't going to tell me no, right? She wasn't going to be like, no, dude, I don't trust you, right? Because she's at the gym and she got out of bed. It's early in the morning. She came through. The logo is over the door. Like, that's scary. The walking in, maybe, newer member. Yeah, but she was there. She was at the gym. And I said, give it a shot. See if you can't surprise yourself. So she did. She picked it up. I said, trust me? Pointed at another one on the ground. This was a 20. Again, do you trust me? Here's a 25. By the time we get through this process of her like leveling up, she's overhead pressing 35s on a shoulder press. She went from 10s, right? 20 would have been 100%, to 30s 200%, and then another 50%. That's 250% more weight that she was lifting. I don't know if my back of the napkin math just worked right there, but it was a lot. Well, I think it was right. 250% more weight from 10 to 35. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. So you're stronger than you give yourself credit for. And if you can do it, you owe it to yourself to do it. See the weight in the gym, pick it up. It will make you a stronger person.
Stronger person physically, but then also mentally. Because I want to go back to her and I want to ask her, when you left the gym, did you feel better or worse about yourself?
Oh, she was smiling.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. She was so happy to be there. That's the punchline to the whole story, is that she didn't want to be there. You get a little progress. You get somebody to believe in you a little bit. All of a sudden, it's like, I'll see you guys tomorrow. And That's because it wasn't because of fitness. Fitness is a commodity. Push-ups are a commodity. They're free. Anybody can do them right now. It's because of the community and the trainers that we have that make this place special. We're going to move on to stress. Okay. So we've talked about metabolic flexibility. We've talked about, I took number 4 and put it as number 2. So we talked about carb timing and carb restriction. We talked about muscle first fat loss, okay, as the first 3 ways to approach fat loss in the modern way. Now let's talk about, let's elaborate on this word I've thrown out a couple times, hormetic. Hormetic stress over chronic stress. Hormetic stress is the idea that stress is dose dependent. In acute voluntary doses, hormetic stress is a good thing. It makes you stronger. It's a low to moderate dose that is going to initiate cellular repair systems. That's going to increase your mental resilience. It's going to upgrade energy production. A lot of benefits from stressing your body. And if you've been following the podcast, and you know the internet right now is on one. They're cortisol drunk. Like, they don't differentiate between what a hormetic stress would be versus a chronic stress. So I wanted to take some time to do that, because what I'm going to, I'll call this section AKA mental resilience. That's really what this is about. But mental resilience through the lens of how do you lose body fat? The reason that you want to introduce this acute positive hormetic stress is because it creates mental resilience. Okay, good stress is going to create mental and physical resilience. Chronic stress, too much cortisol by doing the 1990s version, 4 hours on an elliptical, walking up, set a Stairmaster for 3 hours, taking 40,000 steps in a day. All these things, this is chronic stress. This is chronic stress. This doesn't have to do with like how hard something is versus how hard. Actually, usually, the harder and more acute something is, the more hormetic it is. The longer and more drawn out, and the duration's longer, the more chronic it is. So, what I'm really saying is that the endocrine system, the hormone system, which is one of the 11 major organ systems in the body, has a lot to do with fat burning. And cortisol is a hormone. Insulin has a lot to do with this as well. The endocrine system, okay, just as much as the kitchen. These two things are intertwined. So hormetic stress, chronic stress, differentiate the two. One good, one bad. This is what we need to know. What comes to your mind?
I think it's interesting because when I look at the examples of hormetic stress versus chronic stress, and I think about what can help with the chronic stress, or what it can help with, too much cortisol, poor sleep. I immediately go to, I always sleep way better when I've worked out that day. So it's almost like the good stressors combat the bad stressors. So if you're doing more intentional good stress, just making sure I'm following, you really are then almost eliminating the bad stressors because you're overcompensating with the good stressors. Is that correct?
I would say, generally speaking, that from a practical perspective, that's a good way to think about it. Is that scientifically accurate? And probably not as accurate as it could be scientifically. But from a practical perspective, Chelsea, can I have a water, please? But from a practical perspective, yeah, you're right. It's like the less of this overdoing it that you do, you're right. The more likely it is that you're not going to overdo it. And so, could you do a metabolic conditioning day at Burn Boot Camp and then still go run 20 miles? Yeah. And you can, either way, you're still going to be overtraining there. So overtraining is still overtraining. But should you, if you're saying which one is better for your stress, running 20 miles or a metabolic conditioning camp, obviously a metabolic conditioning camp, right? And people who do run 20 miles know that. They know that.
like the bad stress. So if I'm stressed out from work or whatever's going on, if I go work out, I immediately feel less stress. But even though I just put my body through stress, but that's like the good kind of stress.
Yeah, definitely.
Am I overcomplicating this?
No, you're not overcomplicating it at all. I think you could think about it like this from a practical perspective. You are metabolizing cortisol.
Yeah.
Think about it that way.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's entirely accurate. Google that. Is it scientifically accurate to say that when you exercise hard, it doesn't sound like it is, but that's a good way to think about it. It's like you're eliminating cortisol. You're popping it, like you're giving it these acute hormetic pops.
So is it scientifically accurate?
Is it scientifically accurate to say that working out intensely metabolizes cortisol or any hormone? Just curious, because we're not scientists here, by the way, people. We're not PhDs. We don't have this type of a pedigree. So we're going to go to our old friend GPT, and my intuition was correct in saying no, that it's not scientifically accurate to say that the intense workout metabolize cortisol or any hormone. What's actually happening with cortisol and intense exercise is that the training will raise the cortisol temporarily, but then naturally, it's naturally going to spike, and then after the workout, cortisol returns to baseline or drops below the baseline once the workout ends and recovery begins, because your body turns on the parasympathetic nervous system, which means like rest and recover. It releases endorphins and dopamine, improves the insulin sensitivity before exercise ultimately improves the cortisol regulation, not the metabolism of cortisol. So there you have it from our friend Dr. ChatGPT.
So I go into a world, let's just say I'm going to talk through a situation, a story. I go into, let's say I have a really stressful 9 a.m. meeting and my stress level is high, right? And then I'm like, I'm going to go work out at noon. And I go work out at noon and I work out really hard. And then I leave that noon workout and I've can see more clearly. And I'm like, everything's going to be okay. Like, this is whatever, this too shall pass. It's really not that big of a deal. I was just putting more, but it's because I was able to use that workout and those endorphins and all of the things that happen when we're working out, then level set me.
Yeah, you're
right.
You're exactly right. I mean, because the state of our mind is always going to determine the story we tell ourselves.
Yeah.
And when we put ourselves in the state of a post-workout state, when your heart rate is jacked up, you have all these endorphins and dopamine, and serotonin is the chemical happy cocktail in your brain is ultimately at its peak for the day. You're going to think differently.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to have a different story because now you're in a different state. How bad has your day been sometimes? And then you get done with a workout, right? And like you said, and you're like, maybe it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Well, your perspective changed. The state of the chemical state of your brain has changed, and now you're thinking differently because of that. So that's why I always tell individuals, if you are wanting to get your mind right, if you're like, DK, I got a poor attitude right now, my mental is bad, my set of my mind is bad, well, go exercise, go get your heart rate up. The physiology will be the prerequisite to the psychology. So when I ignite my biology and I get all these hormones flying and they're rocking and rolling and my chemical cocktail is just stirring, I'm automatically going to have a different outlook on the same exact things the same exact experiences that I had, because my state's different. My story and how those experiences, what meaning those experiences have in my life is going to change.
Love that.
Yeah.
My husband has jokingly, he knows when I don't go work out. He's like, hey, babe, have you been to the gym today? And I'll be like, no. That means I need to go to the gym.
That's that husband way of, the husband and wife thing where you ask each other, even though you just want to tell them what they need to be doing, you ask them anyway. But that's a subtle art because you can also annoy your spouse really easily by asking them, hey, are you sure you want to wear that? Like, oh, apparently you don't like my outfit today. That's the number one I get in the Klein household is, hey, baby, you sure you want to wear that? I'm like, I was sure before you said that. Now I'm second guessing not only my outfit, but pretty much my entire existence.
It's so true, though.
Right?
I could see Morgan saying that.
Oh, she totally says it. She totally does. And yeah, mine for her, if she's in a bad mood or something, I'll be like, this is the worst. Husbands, don't do this. Don't do this. Find a better way than to say, hey, babe, is there anything I can do for you to make you feel better? That's the worst. No, Devin. Yeah, effing off. That's the number one way you can make me feel better is go put your nose in the corner over there, sit down, and then spin around and don't stop until you're dizzy and you fall over, you hit your head, and you pass out. That's what I really want for you. Get away from me. She does. I'm just kidding. I'm exaggerating. I'm not kidding. I'm just being dramatic. Morgan she loves me very much so. And we have a great home, and we do have a great relationship at home. Although there is fighting.
Well, I think every married couple is like, my cheeks hurt because I'm like, yeah, that's my married life too. So I get it. My husband has stopped asking me. He just tells me to pick out his clothes. He's like, just
pick them out. We're getting to that maturity in our relationship too. So we're going to do a quick break in the program that you signed up for today to talk about the myths or the new era of fat loss to talk about marriage. Listen, I'm to the point in my relationship where she's like, hey, do you want to like purge your closet or anything? And I'm like, actually, that sounds like the worst time I ever could conceive. I actually would rather put like 9-inch nails through each one of my eyelids and maybe like roll around on a bed of nails. How about you do that? And the answer to any time you want to throw anything away is yes. Anytime you want to throw my stuff away, yes. Devin, do you want this? Then you flip it to no. So just never ask that question. I don't want anything you don't want me to have. And I'm going to go out. I'm going to go play pickleball for 90 minutes while you are so satisfied just controlling my entire closet in my life. Can you relate?
Every wife out there is like,
can you relate?
Loving that.
Oh man, we should talk about relationships more. It really gives you a PhD in relationships, building a company together. Like,
oh my gosh, I can only imagine.
Doing life together for like decades is hard anyway. Mm-hmm. And then to add like, we both had a bad day at work every day. Every day there's a bad day. We both have it because we both are exposed to the same stuff.
Yeah.
Love it, Bird Nation. I love it. I'll keep showing up because you do. Okay, I promise. Okay, let's go to the last section here. Do we need to cover anything else on stress, hormetic versus chronic? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
I think we did a pretty good job. You guys get it? Mm-hmm. You get you pick up what we're putting down? Not all stress is created the same. You want to introduce short, acute hormetic stress, not long-term chronic stress. You get it, got it good. Okay, fasting is a tool. Okay, fasting isn't a test of your character. Mm-hmm. For so long, fasting got this bad rap. Why did it get this bad rap? Fasting's in the Bible, by the way, for 40 days and 40 nights.
It's a long time.
That's a long time. It is one of the oldest ideas that we have. Not only is it one of the oldest ideas that we have nutritionally, it's also how human beings, and part of fasting is why human beings actually exist today. What happens when we go hungry? What happens when we go hungry? Do we sit down and get lazy and lethargic? And do we just like sit back and, oh, I'm hungry? What do we do when we're hungry? We get alert. Mm-hmm. We get hangry. Mm-hmm. We get irritable. We become this monster version of ourselves. People call it hangry, the Snickers why wait commercial.
Snickers did it right.
Why wait? And you actually heighten your sense of awareness and your sense of environment. Why? Because it's now survival mode. Because now we got to find food or else it's game over for the species.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of getting lethargic when we have food, we don't have food. We get high, we get on alert, and we become an absolute hunter of food. Okay? So fasting in itself is part of the very survival mechanism of human beings and a necessary part of who we are. And we don't have to do it today, right? So now fasting becomes this voluntary thing that you do because you heard that it's a way to maybe help you lose weight. You heard that it was maybe a way that you could test your mental resilience. Some of you maybe heard about 40 days, 40 nights and want to go into some fasting because it's spiritual for you. Whatever your reason, what I'm going to tell you is that fasting is a tool. It's not one of the top 10 things I'm going to talk about if I'm going to talk to you about nutrition. But when it comes to modern day fat loss, the context of this podcast, fasting as a metabolic reset is one of the best tools. Which is why I ask you to do it every single night.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not asking you to do 4 days, 3 days, 2 day, 1 day, every other day, 7 days. I've done a 7-day before. It's brutal. It's hard. Really shows you something about yourself. I would argue that it's way more spiritual going for that long than anything else. Yeah. I've also done a 3-day. I've also done many 1-day fasts. I've also every day do a 12-hour overnight fast.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Fasting itself is a tool. Everybody should do it overnight. If you elect to do it longer, be careful. I'm not saying you should, and I'm not saying you should. I'd have to talk to you to recommend anything longer than, maybe like an intermittent fasting window. Eating 1 time per day is about as aggressive as I would want to get, generally speaking. But even then, you're going to be sacrificing performance in the gym if you're not eating around your workout. So I practice a 12 to 16-hour intermittent fasting. It's always overnight, and oftentimes I'll train fasted in the morning, and my first 2 meals after my workout are both carb-heavy meals, high protein, high carbohydrate, as we were talking about earlier. This lowers your insulin. The number one thing this does is controls your glucose sensitivity, controls your insulin. You're going to enact something called autophagy. Do you know what autophagy is, Trish?
I should know off the top of my head. Once you said, I was like racking my brain.
It's okay. I'm just checking you as a proxy for the audience because I know we've talked about it a few times, but it's a complicated word. It's autophagy. And there was, in 2016, the Nobel Peace Prize was won for, I think his name is Dr. Yoshimoto. But I can't remember now if that's the pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers or not. I don't remember because I just saw him throw gems in the World Series. Chelsea, can you look that up for me? I think it's Yoshinibo, maybe is his name. It's the 2016 Nobel Peace Prize winner, won it for autophagy, cellular waste, the clearing of cellular waste, folded mitochondria, damaged proteins. When you fast, you're giving your body the opportunity to get into what we call mild autophagy, which kicks in at about 12 hours and peaks out at about 72 hours. So if you're somebody that if you're fasting overnight for 12 hours every night, 7 p.m. is your dinner and 7 a.m. is your breakfast, you're going to get into this mode where you're cleaning out cellular waste little by little by little by little overnight. Precancerous, pretumorous cellular waste that could be cancerous down the road. You're getting rid of that. This is one of my favorite reasons that I incorporate fasting. Not only because it helps with caloric restriction, okay, the foundation to losing weight and body fat is calories in, calories out. But then secondarily, it's quality calories in, calories out, meaning calories having a hormonal effect too. like carbohydrates and insulin. When you eat more carbohydrates, it spikes your insulin in different ways. Not all carbohydrates are made the same. Broccolis and cookies, they don't align. They manipulate this hormone insulin in different ways. So not all carbohydrates are made equal. So fasting not only has a caloric window restriction benefit, it's going to be most likely that you'll stay in caloric deficit if you have restrictions on when you can eat, therefore controlling the amount of calories, but not eating for 12 hours, maybe 16 hours, maybe 18 hours if you're a crazy person. Maybe the hormonal effect of allowing your body to get back to homeostasis or baseline functionality, that has just as much of an effect as the calories in total. Does that make sense to everybody? So that's why fasting is such an important tool for you if you're somebody who is looking to stay lean. If you're looking to maximize like your muscle gain and you don't care about body fat, don't fast. That's not part of the protocol for you. But most of us, we want to maximize our fat loss, or we want to do what's called athletic body recomposition. I talk deeply about that in the Burn Nutrition course on Burn On Demand. You can go to Burn On Demand if you're a member. If not, you can take a 30-day free trial. Go to nutrition, the nutrition course on Burn On Demand. You're going to learn all about those three goals: maximizing fat loss, maximizing muscle gain, and body recomposition. But most of us are in body recomp. That means that we just want to have about a 200 calorie deficit per day. And you can use fasting to get you into that 200 calorie deficit per day. Trish.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think as someone who I now practice a 12-hour overnight fasting as well, I've gotten myself in a much better routine, which I think that's consistency is key if you want to hit any goal. We say that over and over again. But as someone who had struggled with eating disorder and body dysmorphia, fasting can be a little bit of a triggering word. It still does kind of trigger me. So I definitely talk to somebody. Just understand that it's not totally reducing what you're eating. It's just being really strategic with how you're eating, to Devin's point, and all the benefits that come from it.
So if fasting is a trigger word for you, then what I'm going to do is relabel this for you, because there's a lot of emphasis put on a word and what its pre-association was. So let's call it your feeding boundary.
There you go.
What's your feeding boundaries?
Mm-hmm. I like that.
When do you feed? When don't you feed? Right? And it shouldn't be we feed whenever we feel like it.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing you can do. So here's a to-do for you guys. Create a boundary. When are you going to eat food versus when aren't you going to eat food? For me, my boundary is from whenever, because I don't like to be rigid. So whenever I go to bed, I literally look at my clock before I go to sleep, somewhere between it ranges. It's somewhere between 8:30 and 11 is when I'll fall asleep usually. And I'm somebody who, guys, I eat every night right before I go to bed. I eat high protein and I eat high fat right before I go to bed. So when I get up, that's the next time that I can eat. So if I fall asleep at 10:30, I'm not, or 12 hours later is when I can eat, not when I get up. So if I eat dinner, or the last thing I ate was at 10:30 p.m. right before I fell asleep, I can't eat till 10:30 a.m. the next day. Just a 12-hour window. And most often I'll go 16 hours. Mm-hmm. And I can't do 18. I've tried that before, but 12 to 16, that boundary for me is where I can get all the protein in that I need. And it's really important to make sure that that protein is spaced out 3 hours. Mm-hmm. And so, feeding just on one meal, I'm going to leave all types of gains on the table by doing that.
Yeah.
Now, if my goal was to just lose fat as fast as I could, different story.
Yeah. Just calories at that point.
It's just calories.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. That's some good talk on metabolic flexibility, regulation, reset. Let's see. Did we miss anything? What's anything else on your mind that we would like to discuss today before we get the gang out of here? No,
I think you did a really good job of breaking it down and simplifying it. and I like how a lot of our episodes, because I'm learning along the way with everyone else, they've all tied together. So I'm now getting a little bit more comfortable with these scientific words like glycolysis and lipolysis and why it's important. But at the end of the day, we still simplified it for people that are, might be new to listen to the podcast, to where this is just the tools to set you up for success.
Well, thanks, Trish. I appreciate that, and I'm glad that you're learning.
Yep.
I'm really enjoying you. Great questions today, and thank you all for being out there listening to the podcast wherever you are at. It's in summary very simple here. Let's keep it simple. Okay, fat loss isn't the same as it used to be. There's a new, updated ideology, methodology, one that I've seen and observed with thousands of my own members and millions of people that we helped at Burn Bootcamp. And metabolic flexibility is where ultimate health lives. Being able to switch between those two energy systems that we talked about, all with the goal of building muscle, building machine that will just burn more calories at rest than you would if you weren't strength training. And remembering that strength training isn't everything, okay? It's a large part of the equation, but also hormetic stress, not chronic stress, hormetic stress, good stress, not bad stress that comes from pops of conditioning. Getting your heart rate up, training your heart and your brain is just as important as training your muscle. And if you want to gain muscle, we can't believe that carbs are the enemy. Carbohydrate timing has to be around your workout. Don't run from carbohydrates. Don't not eat carbohydrates. You can't have peak athletic performance unless you incorporate carbohydrates into your diet. We just need to do it before our workout and after our workout. And finally, when you go to bed, that's the last time you eat until you get up 12 hours later. That's called overnight fasting. And if you do those 5 things, that is the new ideology, the methodology on how to lose body fat, how to stay lean, without focusing on what you have to lose, what you have to stop doing, what you have to be in a deficit for, what you can't have. Well, can't have this, can't have that. You got to get to the gym and do this hard. No. I get to go to the gym, right? I get to eat carbohydrates, maybe even some of my favorite carbohydrates right before I go to the gym. I get to go work my butt off at the gym. I get to do these things. I get the privilege of showing my body how strong it really is, using the body that God gave me, how I'm supposed to use it. And that's definitely not sitting around on a couch, right? That's about getting in the gym, gaining strength, and gaining flexibility metabolically, not about restriction and what you have to lose. So that's what this game is all about, everyone. We're so happy that you're here because I know if you keep showing up to the podcast, that means you really care about your health. Okay, yeah, we try to be funny and entertaining and share some stories to elaborate, kind of the program that we go over here, but it's a program. There's 5 things I want you to really take away from this, and I want you to write them down, and I want you to take it seriously because life is serious. Like, we're going to have fun and we're going to play, but also we're serious people, and your life and your health, the most serious thing you have. Okay, your body's a temple. Treat it like it. Okay, Bird Nation? All right, get over to that podcast channel, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And by the way, if you loved this podcast, we have one called Back to the Basics. It was the very season-ending episode. I think it was $4.99. It's going to be right here for you to listen to. Back to the Basics, the beginner's guide to nutrition. And we'll have some of these concepts in here. You can listen to $4.99. And then if you're fired up on nutrition, listen to $500 too, because that's an advanced nutrition conversation. All right, we'll get you out of here. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate you. See you, friends. 2 claps on 2. 1, 2.